1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the CableCast. My name is Caleb Ryor, also known as Cable VGC. Today, we have some huge news, befitting of the first official episode post-release of Sword and Shield. It's pretty important. We've got the VGC 2020 rules. They're going to be legal in just exactly a month from now, actually. And so today, I'm joined by two friends of mine from VGC community. Great friends together, often cited as two sides of the same shaman. It's Angel Miranda and Nails OU.
What's up?
Nick Navarre.
Hey,
How you guys doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. So, because this is, unfortunately, I've been trying to schedule, but with the holiday weekend and everything, things have been kind of hectic to get a new episode right after Sword and Shield's release. So the last episode it was right before the data mine. I was so upset, but we talked about the leaks. We saw leak stats. We were all about Dragapult, but before we get into nitty gritty of VGC 2020, Angel, I want you to start off. What's your favorite new Pokemon? Competitive.
Dragapult, easily.
Okay,
Dragapult, easily. Competitively and design-wise. I love it.
I couldn't agree more. I've actually surprised myself. I've been breeding it, but I've yet to build a team with it, but it's pretty fantastic. What about you, Nails?
Am I allowed to pick Whimsicott?
We'll talk about Whimsicott later, but what new Pokemon?
It's a completely new one. Okay, fine. You sprung this on me. I think I'm going Dragapult too. It's really well designed.
All right, that's no fun, but yeah,
fair.
That's an adequate response to have. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, it's boring, but it's just factual. Dragapult's that good.
It's so cool. It shoots its children, and they home in on the right target. It's a really fun mon to use competitively. It's got a ton of options.
You're right. I'm surprised. Well, not surprised to not see as much support Dragapult, but its move pool is really befitting of kind of offbeat kind of move sets from it.
I've tried out dual screens on it, and it felt like it just got tempoed out of the game, and it didn't have a chance to really get its screens up, despite being the fastest Pokemon on the farm by a mile. A lot of things could just get control on it and make it sad.
That makes sense. But stuff I can imagine Will-O-Wisp and Ally Switch being annoying in the future.
Yeah, I think the big thing about support Dragapult is Dynamaxing Dragapult is so good, where you want as many good max moves as you can get.
Right.
So that's where its support move pool comes from. Is from its max moves, I think.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want 3 max guard slots when you're Dynamaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just being the fastest thing on the field and having the initiative to max move before they can, unless it's mirror. In which case you want a Dynamax to live their max anyway. It's just pretty powerful.
That's a good point. So I was really excited when I realized I could just have both of you guys on because the past couple weeks I've noticed just from Twitter interactions that you guys have been playing the games a lot, really enjoying them. What are your, I guess, we only talk about competitive here. I don't talk about in-game stuff. Don't care about that. How do you feel about, even before VGC 2020, just how has Battle Stadium doubles been? At least in your guys' eyes.
I've had a blast with it. The format is Dynamax is a really central game mechanic, but once you get over that fact and just acknowledge that it's going to be a key part of the game, it's really nuanced. It offers a lot of decisions that you can make, and a lot of them very drastically game. I think they did a really good job balancing Dynamax for doubles.
For doubles, that's a good way of putting it.
Oh, it's absurd in singles. It's just getting banned from Smoke on Tears probably. A few weeks into the gen, they're already suspecting the game main mechanic, and it probably should be banned. Like
Yeah.
it's entirely designed for doubles, and there's no beating around that bush. But for doubles, they did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, I really love the format. I've enjoyed building in it. It's been a long time since I've enjoyed building like teams. And
been a hot minute with 3 different restricted formats we had to build in.
yeah, that is true. I had blast laddering, like grinding to Master Ball, grinding within Master Balls here on the Battle Stadium has been fun. Making teams also, like the fact you can give out rental teams has been sick. Like I've been able to make a couple of teams and just give out to my friends, like, oh, you need a team to use here. Use one of my teams I've built already, and then they don't have to put in as much effort to like build a team. They can just go on ladder with whatever. Like Alex and I made a Trickern team, and I just got the mons in game, built it myself, and gave them the rental code so we can ladder with it. And then it saved us half the time, and we just laddered, and we were able to like test the team out pretty efficiently. It was pretty fun. I've loved it. I'm very happy with like a lot of the quality of life things they've done with this generation. Like, yeah, it's just really
on the
fun.
topic of quality of life stuff, breeding mons or just obtaining mons, even like without breeding.
Half my team, like in game, my first competitive team are raid mons. Like they were like that close to perfect. I think I got literally the perfect Excadrill. I just minted it.
Yeah, you can mint. You can slap bottle caps on. You can literally play competitively with your mons that you played through the game with.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a, and it's not extraordinarily tedious. Just by clearing raids, you are getting the stuff to have legitimately competitive mons, and
The
that's
raids
just
themselves are like pretty engaging and fun, especially with friends. Kind of strategizing that the power of friendship.
I've had some fun doing raids.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is like it's the new toy thing. When the game first came out, we just discovered raids. Is like it's so fun, like just find raids with your friends and just do it. I feel like down the road it'll be a little bit more tedious because it'll just get like really like boring. Like just do it,
especially when we're only using them to get like experience for our Pokemon.
Yeah, you're just getting them like for resources and stuff. It's like, okay, I'm just clicking A, just clicking A.
I'm clicking Behemoth.
Yeah, I'm clicking I'm clicking my legendary special move and just going through the raids. Like, I think eventually it'll get like kind of boring, but like if you just like enjoyed like going around doing raids, you just get everything you need like really easy. And the other thing, like the other negative about it is like you kind of like really want to have friends to do it with. Like if you're not like in a circle of friends with raiding with, it's not as fun. It's really really boring. Then you're not going to really enjoy it. I wish there was an alternate way of getting like candy and stuff because I don't think there's a better way to level up Pokemon. But otherwise,
this is still a massive step up from anything they've had before.
Yeah, exactly. It's a massive step up.
I've never been interested in playing in-game Pokemon since I started playing VGC, I guess. So at least in the past couple gens, it's always just been a chore. And Sword and Shield the in-game experience has been something that I've found myself playing to some degree.
Like even just doing raids, you get like because all the 5-star raids give you like at least 431 IVs, and it's like, all right, at the very least, these are like good parents for beating down other mons, and you can farm Dittos. It's a lot easy. Like you can get everything you need to build competitive Pokemon. All you really need to do, like, only thing that's really hard to do is finding a 0 speed IV for Trick Room. Oh, yeah. And then once you find a Ditto that does that, you're golden. You're set, and there's not much else you need. Like,
that's going to be a little annoying with the Gmax Pokemon. We'll talk about that a bit later, but not being able to kind of pass down the Gigamax or Gigantamax status. It's a little annoying, but
that's a whole bucket of like all the quality of life things they've done right. I feel like they've just went the opposite with the Gigantamax Pokemon, but it's not as bad.
For sure. We'll go into that next. First off, let's talk about like the actual VGC 2020 rules. Like it was a huge coincidence that this was even getting announced today. Well, for this podcast, because I was just trying to schedule a podcast. I was gonna try to have this last night actually, and lo and behold, I look at my phone during my lunch break, and the rules broken out. So, just for those who are unfamiliar of the new rule set, if you're familiar enough with Battle Stadium doubles with only Galar Pokemon, the classic VGC of no two Pokemon of the same species, item clause, and everything, we also have confirmation that Gigantamax will be available for use in VGC, unlike in Battle Stadium doubles, but we're having a staggered release of those kind of Gigantamax Pokemon, which I have mixed feelings about, but generally positive on that front.
Oh, I am big on mid-format releases. I think that anything they can do to update the game and help keep it fresh through the season is good, and they should be doing more of it, and this is a great step. And I'm really happy that they're doing it.
Go ahead.
Sorry, that just reminds me of a question I wanted to ask. So I know I've known Angel. You've been playing since what, 2009?
2008, but yeah.
2008,
but
yeah.
I was like kind of casual back then, but yeah.
Right. But you've been like in the kind of scene since then. And then Nails, I met you in 2015.
I started playing on Spogon in 2010.
2010. Okay, so you're
competitive Mons forever.
Enough. All right.
But for VGC, yeah, I started in.
Gotcha. I just bring that up because some people, like, when this came out, people were like, oh, like a staggered release of Pokemon that's going to be huge, it's kind of a new kind of thing. It's not really the case. We basically had this, but with abilities back in 2013, I think was kind of like the first example of that. Yeah, back when hidden abilities were Dream World. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
And we never knew when those were coming out and which ones were coming out. They didn't really affect the meta all entirely too much because most of them, if I remember, were kind of trash. But
in 2012, so I believe it happened in the middle of right before Nationals of 2012, and for the most part, they didn't affect much. But if I remember correctly, Jonathan Hiller he won Seniors Nationals that year with Big Fat Mamoswine, which was just released, like right then. I think that was like the big thing. Otherwise, I don't remember if anything else was like changing. Because like I think it was the release of Black and White 2 that did it, or Dream or something like that.
Black and White 2 is when they were first like coming out, I guess, more consistently, and you could get them in the game other than just like through the service. I vaguely remember, I think we got Gothitelle and Scrafty in separate occasions from this kind of like standard release.
Those came out in specific Dream World event. And so like they gave us we were able to use the hidden ability stuff that we can breed, and then we weren't allowed to use the move tutors. Like the move tutor Pokemon were not allowed. So like things like Helping Hand. I think it was like Helping Hand that wasn't allowed.
Oh, right. That's the Japanese release of Black and White 2
yes.
already out, and we're still playing Black and White, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But so anyways, the parallel for Gigantamax, even though most of them are still in the game, they're not going to be legal because they're not as like easy to get, which for like barrier to entry for certain players that don't have the strength of friendship,
Yeah.
It's a little harder. I'll just quickly mention the Gigantamax Pokemon that are legal or are going to be legal as of January 4th, 2020. We got Butterfree, Corviknight, Dreadnought, Centiskorch, then Meowth, Pikachu, Eevee, whatever. Snorlax, Sandaconda, and Charizard.
But Charizard only can have Blaze. You cannot have Solar Power Charizard.
Yeah,
with the G-Max.
I think that means that won't see use until we're allowed to use Solar Power with Gigantamax.
I think you'll see like some use. Not
I'm
a lot.
interested in Charizard's G-Max. I'm not sure it's good, but I'm very interested in it. Setting your opponent's board on fire and dealing 1/6 per turn. That's pretty potent.
Yeah, right. I think there are like a handful of ones that are like good. Like a handful of G-Max ones that are like usable. I think Charizard like in that like right in the middle where it's like teetering between not good and usable. But if it gets Solar Power, then it's definitely good.
It's in the tier where it wouldn't surprise me if it was viable, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was unviable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So what do you guys think about all the others that are going to be relevant? I know, well, a big coincidence, you two were a big part of finding out earlier today that Snorlax's Gigantamax move isn't a guaranteed effect.
Yeah, so I wanted to test this out because I wasn't certain. I wanted to know how broken Snorlax was. So I tested it just to see like how it interacted with partner items and stuff like that. So I first tested it with my friend Nick Score and Marco, and we did. I hit him with Gmax Replenish when I was at full HP, where my Snorlax didn't do any damage. I mean, I didn't take a berry out, and it did not restore my partner's berry. And I was like, okay, weird. Let me try again. And I belly drummed the Snorlax and did the same and got my Figgy berry. Mm-hmm. And then my Snorlax is at 83%. My Hydreigon ate its Haban, and I didn't heal anything. It didn't work. The secondary effect did not happen. So I told him to hit my Snorlax under 50%. And once I was under 50%, then the Gmax Replenish worked. I'm like, okay, maybe I have to consume, my Snorlax has to consume the berry for the effect to work. And I did more tests with Nails. And everything was going as the last tests were showing me. Like, I needed to be under 50% to use the berry or whatever. And then it just didn't work. And I was like, okay.
All right, so you weren't even testing for the purpose of finding out if it had a chance to not work. You just wanted to see it in action.
I wanted to see how it worked, period. I wasn't sure. There was no info about it. So I was like, all right, let me find out. And I found out, I had a preliminary theory where I was like, okay, I have to eat the berry to replenish it. And then I found out, well, no, that's not the case, because I was able to eat the berry and I just didn't replenish it. Okay. And I did more tests with Nails, and I did some tests with Hibiki. And it just turned out that it just does it whenever it wants. It's a percentage chance. For my testing, it feels like 50%, but it's only like a handful of tests. I think I did about like 12 turns of it, so it's not many like test turns. So with more, we can probably find out the exact percentage of when it procs, but it's definitely not 100%. That's for sure.
I'm kind of surprised. I don't know much about how like the data mine works and whatnot, but the fact that we couldn't have found that information through there, because I know Grimmsnarl's Gmax Snooze, while not legal yet or available, we know that has at least a % chance to not work as well.
Yeah.
And honestly, those two are some of the more busted ones on like already good Pokemon, so I guess that's their way of viewing balance.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's still a lot of things we don't like. There's still more tests we can do to figure out how exactly it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like, absolutely stuff that's going to jump up in viability once we figure out how it works.
Yeah, that's always exciting with new games, but kind of frustrating at the same time.
We were going through and like none of the Gmaxes that we have right now are especially interesting. There's a couple that are kind of cute. Pikachu is one of them that a lot of people are sleeping on because it's a Pikachu, but like Pikachu's a mon that has got regionals in multiple formats before. It deals a lot of damage.
Yeah. Actually, with Light Ball, it can hit just as hard as the rest of them.
I think if we had Lightning Rod Pikachu, in the format, like Lightning Rod Gmax Pikachu, it would have been a very viable Pokemon in the format. With just static or whatever the ability it has, I think it's like static. Right under not viable, but like it was almost there. It was almost good.
Speed tier is like really, really pretty okay in this format. It's not too far off, is what I'll say. But
yeah. It gets like some kind of bulk. It gets more HP. It's like maybe it won't die in one hit, but
yeah, maybe.
Its Gmax effect is powerful. It's very powerful, and Light Ball's strong. So like it would have been a cool mon if you got Lightning Rod, because you can boost it. You can discharge, boost it, or something like that, and it would take KOs. For reference, like Nails and I did a calc where you can you can knock out Rhyperior with Max Geyser. Like Pikachu is
That's also a 4 times effective move. But...
It's a 4 times effective. Oh, sorry. It's a. It was Max Rhyperior. Max Rhyperior.
Yeah.
Oh, Solid Rock
Yeah.
Max Rhyperior. Okay.
Yeah, Solid Rock Max Rhyperior.
It's
So,
a roll already.
Yeah, it's a roll as of right now without a boost. But if you had like a discharge +1 special tag or like helping hand or like something, then
And
you
like
would
right now
have
you can chip it anyways, but
Damn.
it would get you a bigger Pika.
Yeah, and like Rhyperior is already a pretty hard to knock out Pokemon already.
Mm-hmm.
So like if Pikachu was able to do that without too much effort, it would be like pretty cool for it.
It has a roll to just knock out Braviary with Max Thunder. It's a favorable roll, so 75%.
And +1 Pikachu also just knocks out Rotom W.
Yeah.
Poor Rotom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always mislabel Rotom as a bulky Pokemon. He's not that bulky.
Yeah, it's just usually built to be bulky.
From his typing and his ability and the situations that you put him in, he doesn't have that many stats.
Yeah. There's like not that many, like I'd say 3 or 4 viable Gigantamax mons right now.
Would Butterfree be one of those?
Yes. Definitely.
Yes.
I think Butterfree is very like I don't want to say very good, but it's like a good option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be some team out there that can use it really well.
Like if you have to like if I can name the 4 best Gigantamax mons right now, I would say Butterfree, Snorlax, even with Gmax Replenish acting the way it does, it's still like
I still think
solid.
it's better than Max Strike in most circumstances.
I think it's better on like trigger games, only on.
Yeah. Okay.
Butterfree,
Max Strike
Snorlax.
is pretty okay.
Yeah.
Another situation.
And then I would say Sandaconda and Charizard would be like the. I'd say Charizard before Pikachu. Yeah, because
Alright.
Corviknight, I think Corviknight just gets worse. Like Airstream is like one of the best max moves in the game, and Defog is not that great in doubles. Even though if it removes screens and terrains and whatever, it's not good enough. Dreadnought, I think Dreadnought would have been so much better if its special Gmax move was Rock instead of Water, because then it's a Swift Swimmer where one of its stabs changes to Sand. That's not good.
It wants to be setting up Rain with its max with its Gmax move, or with its off, not Gmax move, and instead of being able to set up Rain and not overwriting it with Sand with its Rock, it's setting up be able to.
Yeah,
it's a real tragedy.
Scorch is interesting. That's probably one I'm sleeping on too. I haven't looked into Scorch as a Pokemon, so I don't know. That might be better than Charizard.
I've heard that Scorch, and I'm going to assume Sandaconda, but I haven't heard it for Sandaconda specifically. I've heard that the trapping effect is persistent after the Gmax mon goes down.
That's not. That's unlike how Fire Spin actually works, right?
I have heard that. I have not had any confirmation on this. This is just scuttlebutt. It's just a thing I've heard. And
if that's true, then both of them are very good. I mean, I already think Sandaconda is good.
I still don't think they're very good. Scorch is still 4x weak to Rock, and Sandaconda I am more interested in. Mono Ground is legitimately not a terrible typing in this format.
And it has like solid stats too, I think. And like as a solid move pool. Like I think Sandaconda is like a good mon regardless. But yeah, Scorch is like, yeah. Then like Meowth, Pikachu, Meowth and Eevee are just not good. Like I think y'all agree that those two
Meowth isn't an game mon. Eevee Attract is like potentially the best way to stall out turns of a max mon if you are refusing to get hit by it. It's short of Sleep. Sleep is like the best, and then Attract is just a 50% chance to deny the turn. And so there's
Meowth is Meowth.
Yeah, Meowth is useless.
If they gave Eevee's max move to say Hatterene, then that would be kind of insane.
That would be delicious.
Like it's objectively a really good move, but it's an Eevee, and so it doesn't have enough stats to back up.
That's how they balance that. So yeah. I respect it.
They did that with last gen with Eevee too.
Yeah, but that was like actually viable and obnoxious, and I will not allow.
We can move past that.
Yes.
Because
talk about
Game
those
Freak clearly
teams
has.
in this. Yes, I'm very glad about that. Actually, let's move past the Gigantamax just right now to go up on a topic that was kind of clickbaited on Twitter by Nails earlier. An important part of the rules document from today, we are getting a in-game round timer back, which, frankly, I'm excited for. Yeah, okay. All right, hold up. I'm excited for an in-game timer, not this one. I think it's for the chess timer to be also still in place at 7 minutes and the round timer 15. I don't think that's a good combo, and it's just going to be kind of like end of 2016, how kind of stalling matches ended up being all over again. I'm cautiously optimistic about them either making changes or it actually not ending up being that big of a deal. But Nails, I'm sure you have thoughts, yeah.
Well, early meta, it's always difficult to play super defensive strategies because you're not really sure what combos you need to be dealing with, and you can make it through a couple rounds of a regional with a pretty okay defensive team, and then someone like just blindsides you with something you didn't know you needed to respect, and then you like that's one of your 2 losses for the tournament before you're dead. It's just really tough to make it through an early meta regional with defensive stuff in most formats.
I'll agree with that.
17 was an exception, but
yeah.
Aside from that, I wouldn't be shocked. Not that you're supposed to go full aggression either, but yeah.
Well, so I guess this next follow-up question is more geared towards Angel, simply because of the amount of formats you've been around for and the different timers. Do you remember when the last time we had the 15-minute round timer was? I know we
2016.
Yeah, it was 2016.
It was 2016. The form, yeah, that's when the timer became apparent to everybody that it was an issue. Like, if you saw Worlds, you realized the timer was a problem. I mean, there are people on the other side of the argument. People think it's fine. People think it's better. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the world is ending because we have it back. I'm not sure we'll have the same issues. We potentially could. The world could be burning down. The format could be on arrival.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not ready to pronounce the format dead because of the time. But it very well could.
It was especially problematic in 2016 because of the primal animations and the mega animations.
Yeah.
And Dynamax animations are not as severe as primal animations. Primal animations were legitimately a 45-second video at the start of a battle that cut into the match timer, and
Okay. I'm starting to remember.
Turn 1 would end 3 minutes into the game. 20% of the game had elapsed before the end of turn 1.
Right. I guess I kind of locked all those bad memories in the back of my head with the rest of 2016. So that makes sense why I might not remember that. When was the last time have we ever had a 20-minute round timer?
2013.
2013, okay.
That was also we had less animations.
That was great.
Great. But
Just
anyway,
that we get 8 turns of game. I haven't checked into that. It seems pretty plausible. If you're aiming to make everything last as long as it is, games are going to be somewhere in the region of 8 or 9 turns. And that's not you have anything to say about it. If your opponent wants the game to go as short as possible, they can just take all of their time, and that is how long the game goes. Your opponent doesn't get any counterplay on that.
Well,
and so
that's why I mentioned the combination. I haven't done the math itself. I know people were talking about on Twitter, but how the 7-minute your time literally isn't a factor.
Yes.
Like, then why
that
exist
seems
in
accurate.
the first place?
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like an oversight on their part. It really doesn't do
either
anything.
you decrease that or increase the round timer. And I feel like most people want to increase the round timer, but logistically, I see that being what will least be likely to happen. But
Oh, the round timer got just straight up deleted. Like there isn't a round timer anymore. The 50-minute round timer non-existent.
oh no, I'm mostly talking about the game timer. Like, so
yeah.
in my head, round timer is the accumulation of all the game time. So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it's still like pseudo 45 minutes. That's why I love in-game round timer, because frankly, we're playing a video game. Like, everything should just be in the game to kind of gear us from start to finish completion of our rounds. We shouldn't have to be like looking around, like waiting for judges to be talking, or like wait for end of round to know when I'm gonna have to play sudden death. Like,
Okay,
it's a game
I
in itself.
sympathize with that viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
My counter would be that the game should be resolved by playing Pokemon, and there shouldn't be a cap on the length of round times. That's
Right. Okay.
not especially plausible. There can be long stall wars, and so I will say that in my ideal world, just there are no timers other than a turn timer. Like you can't just take 3 hours to pick your move, because that's degenerate, obviously. But outside of that, just the set is resolved by playing Pokemon.
Fair enough.
That would be my ideal world.
My ideal world would be we have a match timer, not a game timer. Like, let's say the match timer is 55 minutes. And
so in-game way of actually playing best of 3.
I don't care if it's in game or out of game. I mean, obviously in game would be superior, but like I don't care.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I think like, if game 1 goes 55 minutes, that's the only game that's being played. That's the way I see it. If you
TCG.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that's the TCG mindset, right?
Yes.
No,
if
get that
game 1 goes to 55 minutes, that's all that's being played. I think like if you don't want to play one game and that's it, you better know if you're winning or not, because if you're going to lose, you just forfeit.
All right, I don't want to invalidate your opinion just because it's copy-paste TCG, but I think that's why we've suffered from it, in that us always being kind of like a side event shoehorned into the whole TCG ecosystem. That's kind of why we've ever had those rules in the first place.
I don't know. You guys seem to want the good TCG rules, but not everything else. So I don't know.
All right.
Hey, what if I say I want IDs for VGC?
Wait, say again?
I said, what if I want IDs for VGC? I don't actually. I want the 2 splits.
I don't think anyone wants.
And to clarify my point, I do want the overall time, but I don't want specific game timers. Like, I don't want a 15-minute for game 1. I don't want a 15-minute for game 2. I want just the overall time. Like, if
he wants the event to run at a smooth pace. I begrudgingly accept that we probably do need that, and so I'm fine with.
Well, you're also biased.
I thought Gen 7's timer system was excellent, and I think this is a massive step backward.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to continue asking that question to future guests to kind of expands the opinion pool there. It's definitely a hot topic in the scene. It's always been, so we'll move on from that for a second. There is one thing. Did we want to talk about the logistics of playing on LAN a bit? Something we wanted to touch upon? There was something related to that I thought was important to bring up, but I'm having a kind of a brain fart right now.
Is it something related to the codes?
I don't think it was related to code. I thought it was related to timer, but we can talk about the codes.
Well, the only thing, so like, it's probably an issue. Like, the LAN thing is you need to have a certain amount of LAN setups to do this, right? And
That's
I'd imagine not every event's going to have enough to accommodate every player. You're wrong. Maybe events that matter.
Is every player going to have to show up with their own LAN setup?
They would never.
I would assume no.
To do that.
Yeah, I assume no. So what I was thinking, this is my assumption. I don't know if this actually works logistically or whatever. What I would assume is if an event doesn't have enough LAN setups for every match, that the matches that don't have LAN set, like the ones that are left over, they would just use wireless. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's possible, but it just seems like that would be the logical solution.
Maybe they're planning to cycle players through LAN setups, and that's why they need a 15-minute game time. Like that. This is just a thought I had right now, but like. Omats is saying in Twitch chat that the current plan is that all EU and US regionals and ICs will have LAN setups.
Right.
Is that enough for every player?
Yeah, can we plan that for?
If we have like a 250 player regional, do we have spots for 125 Swiss matches to go on at once?
Dallas could easily hit 400.
I don't know if it's gonna hit 400. I can see 300.
We've exceeded 300. We've been over 300 twice at Dallas.
Yeah, but like we just come off from I don't know, maybe.
Okay. So
yes, the plan is to have LAN for every player.
Well, all right. So my question is, what happens in a situation where there aren't enough? Like, let's say like Dallas regionals, we have more players than expected. I'd imagine we don't
probably just have a player cap. Is my guess.
Okay, yeah, either a player cap or okay, that makes sense too.
Or like
you can player cap it at the LAN setups.
Yeah,
because I'd imagine it's kind of unfortunate, but
yeah, because I'd imagine regional, like for certain regionals, because like those aren't like run by TPCI, that there's gonna be a limited number of LAN setups.
Right. Just for our future listeners, we are streaming live. If I forgot to mention it currently, so we're just interacting with user Omats on Twitch, helping us kind of understand that. All the resources also that we'll mention, I'll have in descriptions in the future as well. So I think that was it for now. Now we can get to the actual kind of juicy part, the second half of the podcast, talking about the actual metagame. Where do you guys want to start with this? You want to talk about like Galar Weekly results? That's like a very small bubble of the metagame currently, because there's big archetypes that are missing from that, I feel.
Yeah, no, we can start there. That's a good starting point. Like I think the metagame had pretty big shifts from Galar Weekly 1 to Galar Weekly 2, and then to what's going on the ladder.
Yeah. Also, with 3 is going to be not a big shift, but an interesting enough shift, with us probably attempting to do VGC 2020 rules. Rules set, download, required, or like we'll see how that interacts in the next few days. But it'll be interesting enough to see that shift, because even though Sand's still up there, we still haven't seen Rhyperior stuff in either of the tournaments. So.
Yeah. So like the big thing when you see like the weekly results and the more casual players be quick to point it out was that like T-Tar Excadrill is everywhere, dominating the metagame, which I don't think is the case. Like what happens when you have a new format and people are unfamiliar with like how the new Pokemon and what the new Pokemon do is they'll default to the more tried and true strategies. Mm-hmm. And the only tried and true strategy that really transferred over, I think, to the generation was Sand, because T-Tar is better now, Excadrill gets better, and those are just simple monster slap out. And like the other thing about Excadrill is there aren't that many great ground Pokemon. There's no Landorus, there's no Garchomp, which makes Excadrill one of like the fastest ground types. It's a Steel also.
I wouldn't call ground types always the like most centralizing Pokemon, but a good ground type is like a hot commodity.
Yes.
Whenever we have like a really good one, like it's a definitive like Pokemon within that meta.
Yeah.
An important element is that Excadrill is also it's the best steel, and there are a pretty significant lack of other steals outside of Corviknight.
That's fair. Also, its max moves are like perfect for it.
Yeah, and it's very good boosting max moves. So like it's easy to slap on T-Tar Extra on a team because they're just solid Pokemon on their own, and they just do things like what they do. You know these Pokemon are good, and when you're going into a tournament,
T-Tar is like not actually completely in that. Figuring out what Tyranitar does in this format is not trivial.
That's true.
It's just kind of a blank slate Pokemon, and you have to have it.
But so like I think even if you don't know what you're doing, it's still like a strong Pokemon. Like
it has a lot of stats. I will say that. And Max Tyranitar is just generally really potent. Max Dark. Dark hasn't had 130 base power moves. And so Tyranitar, he can, even without like a clear game plan for him, he can still just go in sometimes.
It's just like in a metagame where you don't know what to expect or doing, it's just very easy. It's very easy to default to like just good Pokemon. Like if you look at the Galar Weekly teams, most of the Pokemon you see, T-Tar, Extra, Rotom W,
let's talk about
Gyarados.
Rotom for a second, because also a definitive like kind of typing is there's always that like one like electric type that's usually immune to ground that we all centralize around.
Yeah,
Not
and
always
the
immune to ground. We had Coco, but
yeah, so you always had like a really good electric type.
Garchomp anyways with
Yeah, but so like every format, either with Zapdos, Thundurus, or Coco, we've had a good electric type in the format, and usually it's a legendary or it's Rotom. Rotom is the other Pokemon. Like in 2014, Rotom was very strong, and there aren't that many good electric types. You have Rotom, you have Rotom, you have Rotom, you have Rotom, and Toxtricity, and like maybe something else I'm forgetting. I don't think I am. Boltund, yeah, and then Pincurchin. Pincurchin's probably not, but like you're very limited in what electric types
you have to dig really deep if you're not using a Rotom.
Yeah,
and that's why honestly with Gyarados being as big as it is, we can kind of touch upon Gyarados and what Nick wanted to talk about for his new Pokemon Whimsicott in a second, but we want electric moves to kind of shut down Gyarados anyways, because if you don't, like, he's a threat. So there's other Pokemon that run electric cover moves nowadays anyways, especially if you can't seem to fit one of the Rotoms for whatever reason.
Yeah, you have like Duraludon, you have Arcanine running Wild Charge now. Dragapult can run Thunderbolt. So like we have more
Thunder Punch Tyranitar.
You couldn't really run Thunder Punch Tyranitar at your disposal.
It's something that I've run into while playing Gyarados, and I got sad.
But yeah, like Gyarados is just really strong because, well, one, Gyarados has access to bounce. Yeah, Gyarados has access to bounce again, which is big because, like in 2017, where it had access to Z Flying or Sonic Skystrike or whatever it was called, now you get Max Airstream, which boosts your speed. Now, having a reliable, like a very strong stab flying move that boosts your speed is very good for Gyarados. Gyarados also has access to Power Whip now, which lets it hit Rotom W, which is big.
And Gastrodon.
And Gastrodon,
yeah.
It's,
so Gastrodon Gyarados is like all the coverage it wants.
Yeah, Gyarados is a base choice. And that's it's just a really important choice for how the metagame is going to structure. Because Gyarados would have been like, it would have been okay. It would have been classic Gyarados. It's kind of it's intimidate support. It does stuff against unprepared teams, and now it's so much easier to be an unprepared team for that mon.
Yeah, and like so before in previous formats we saw Gyarados is usually Dragon Dance set, Waterfall, coverage move, protect, or you have a support Gyarados with like Thunder Wave or something. That was way less common. And now you're seeing more choice. You're seeing more choice band. You're seeing like Assault Vest. You're seeing.
Is Moxie even more popular than Intimidate right now?
I don't know. I don't know if it's more popular, but it's like a thing now. It's like if you're basically in Gyarados, you now have to consider Moxie as a possibility because now that it has all the max moves, it has great coverage. It's easy to get a cheeky KO with it. And when you get a cheeky KO with Gyarados, you can either get a +1 Moxie boost, and you can also get a +1 speed boost by using Max Airstream. So Gyarados can easily snowball its stats, which is very good for it right now. And I think that's like reason why it was so popular. It's just a very good mon that got buffed coming into this generation.
Speaking of buffs going in this generation, Nick, I'll let you talk about it in a second. I just want to talk about it because it's my favorite Pokemon. We got Whimsicott. How was it buffed, you ask? Oh, they didn't really do anything to it with its moves, but the new speed mechanics on how speed is kind of recorded retroactively. Priority Tailwind. It's the only Priority Tailwind Pokemon in the format. It's going to be top tier. I don't see it dropping down. It might a little, but it's going to be a top Pokemon for a while. What do you think about that now?
I can see its usage dropping, but it's going to be a top tier pod for sure.
Mm-hmm.
First, does my volume sound okay?
Because I stopped fine, yeah.
Whimsicott, it rules the speed control game with an iron fist. If you want to set Tailwind, you have to have your game plan for Whimsicott. It is the mob boss of Tailwind. If you want to go fast,
Yeah,
like we have other Tailwind Pokemon, like even in our the usage, like the tiered usage from the two VGC stat tournaments. There's Corviknight and Braviary, great Tailwind users too. But like, if you can set priority Tailwind so that your partner that turn can outspeed a threat on the opposing team and just get rid of it, like that's
the big thing about like the Whimsicott specifically is, since you're setting up priority Tailwind, you can make it so your partner outspeeds their Tailwind setter and just removes it from the field. And now you just have control of speed.
So many times.
So the only way to prevent that is either you have like a SAT Tailwind setter, or you have your own Whimsicott, which priority Tailwinds before the opponent gets. So like
one of the other big things about priority Tailwind this gen is that you don't have downtime between Tailwinds.
Mm-hmm.
You just have eight solid turns of Tailwind up.
Yeah, we essentially have as many Tailwind turns as Trick Room now, if you think about it.
Yes,
that is true. You get 4 turns of abuse after clicking the move. It's an insane buff. Whimsicott is a completely different Pokemon now.
Yeah. I was talking about way earlier on how raid Pokemon are kind of viable and close enough to just kind of mint or like bottle cap and use them. Some of the first couple raid Pokemon I caught a Justified Arcanine and a Whimsicott. It's like my first Pokemon. That's why I have been using that team, because I caught them in raids.
Yeah, so the other big thing about Whimsicott being so good because of the Tailwind mechanics is that you can run more centralized Whimsicott strategies, like beat up strategy. Like, since Whimsicott is already so good, you can just stick it on a team, and the beat up strategy is good because you can just have an Arcanine. And because of the Dynamax mechanics, your Arcanine is now super fat and now super strong, so you have like a big, Pokemon to have to deal with. And I think another underrated part about Whimsicott is there are so many good dragons in this format. There are a lot of very solid dragon type Pokemon, or just very weak Pokemon in general. Like fighting type's a good type now again, and all the dragons. And Scrafty is good. You have Dragapult, you have Hydreigon, you have and also Dracovish. Like you have good, very weak Pokemon. And now, even though Whimsicott isn't so strong, like it's running off 75 base special attack, Moonblast is still hitting pretty hard and it's threatening.
Yeah, it's base 95 special attack. Moonblast. It's actually one of the few, or is it 90? Did I misspoke?
No,
it's Moonblast. I think, the base power is 90.
90. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I was thinking of Arcanine's base speed because I was going to make a point about that earlier. But whatever. It's one of the few fairies that actually gets Moonblast in this format.
That's true. There's also this. Yeah, there's just a lot of good. Like, Whimsicott has a lot of things going for it in this format. It got a huge buff.
It will settle down as the format develops. Like bulky teams can just disregard it to some extent.
Yeah.
But finding consistent game plans that can disregard just things going before they should is not trivial. So Whimsicott's going to be around for a while. I don't think it's not going to be as potent as the format develops, but like nothing early format ever is. So
yeah, it's something that people have to like prepare for. Like people are gonna have to over prepare for Whimsicott, and it's gonna fall because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think enough Trick Room strategies, guaranteed like stuff, kind of overwhelms it to an extent. If you're building a team that you're kind of more accustomed to leading Whimsicott, you can run the bulky Pokemon and just disregard Tailwind. If priority Tailwind's not an issue to you, then it's less of a threat.
So like, I think that's like the big thing, like how the metagame progressed as it goes. So week 1, people discovered, okay, Whimsicott's really, really good. And the metagame we're currently in right now, everyone's like trying out hard Trick Room. People are like, okay, well, if hard Tailwind is the common thing, I'll beat it with my Trick Room team. And that's why I think people right now are just trying out the hard Trick Room teams with like Indeedee and Hatterene. Like, that's the response to the Whimsicott, which now is in a couple weeks or maybe even next week. There's gonna get teams that just counter hard Trick Room. Now you're gonna see more Duraludon to counter the Indeedee hat, or the metagame is gonna circle around itself.
Yeah, it's a fun. It's like a dance. We got a good month and a couple weeks until the big U.S. regional. I know the format starts in a month, but like there's a couple of weeks until that.
We also have Bochum too, right? I think that's also happening before Dallas.
Before Dallas.
Yeah, it's the week before Dallas. Yeah, that's the first Sword and Shield regional.
Yeah, first big regional. So that'll be just in like a month and a week.
It'll provide a decent amount of data to inform. Like, we're just looking at it from an American perspective. The Bochum dudes are going to have to figure out their stuff for themselves, and we're still going to have to figure out most of our stuff for ourselves. But I think if you're prepping for Dallas, you're going to need to have your team or a direction pretty much figured out before you get to see anything from Bochum, because
you only have a week.
It's a really involved process. You need to have like in-depth game plans of how you're going to use your max moves.
For sure.
So I don't think you're going to be able to see Bochum, and aside from just hard net decking, a team that did well from there, which if there's published teams, then fair enough. You still not be able to pick up all the nuance of a team, but it'll probably do okay. And if you are uncertain about some tech choices, then maybe results from that continue in a direction. But if you're building your own team, which is how I do things, then you're gonna pretty much have to already have most of your stuff figured out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have plenty of ways of practice. Well, we did until the announcement.
Until just now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's not just Battle Stadium doubles. So hopefully we get a ladder or like also a in-game kind of rule set soon.
Ideally, we'll be able to download the rules. Hopefully after maintenance tomorrow. That's the ideal. We're not going to be able to ladder with it. We won't be able to ladder until January 4th, so we'll get like 2 weeks to ladder in-game.
Yeah,
and then
in theory, it lets people get the Gmax mons. So,
you think we're not getting an in-game VGC rules ladder until January 4th?
That's when the rules change for ranked double. So I assume that's when
like our season.
Oh, and they're not going to give us a second double ladder. That's completely fair.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think we're just gonna get the VGC rules of the ladder once the format actually hits. Is my thoughts on it. Because I think coincidentally the doubles ladder ranks, it ends like right before we get the rules, right? Like I imagine like it's gonna link up.
Yeah, okay.
I think it ends the day before Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
But so how I kind of saw this interaction going, I'm sure because the format decisions, they're all TPCI and the like actual functionality of the game, that's Game Freak. So I'm sure they've been in like discussions to decide these rules for a while, like bouncing ideas back and forth, waiting up till the release of the game, and like they wanted to have a doubles ladder because it's even part of like the battle tower and everything. So while they were still figuring out what to do with Gigantamax, like it makes sense that Battle Stadium doubles didn't allow that. So it's kind of like a natural progression of things. I'm sure the rule format was only finalized recently, and so to implement that, you need a little time for the developers and like the two teams to like talk. So it makes sense. It's unfortunate, but it made sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they don't want people like if the VGC rules were instant. They don't want people hunting for Gmax mons like instantly or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what goes in their head, but I imagine there was a method to the madness.
True. Let's get back to talking about the metagame Pokemon just real quick. We talked about this isn't even related to beat up, but you were talking about the combination Angel of Dynamax Pokemon and just like quick damage and boosting. We've seen a lot of that with weakness policy and like self setups, like on multiple Pokemon.
Yeah, like the way Dynamax works makes weakness policy such a good item. So when you're Dynamax, you get double your HP, and with double your HP, it's much easier to survive. A super effective hit. You're really hard to take down. So Pokemon like Rhyperior, who are already pretty bulky, and with a lot of weaknesses, can proc weakness policy really easily and snowball their boost with max moves. So like for example, Rhyperior, you have like a Pokemon that hits it with like an Earthquake or something, gets +2 attack, and then you start using Max Quake, get more special defense. You use Max Rockfall to get Sand Up, so you get more special defense. And then you have your coverage move of choice. You can either just have Max Fighting for attack boost, Max Steel for defense boost. You have a lot of options there just to snowball your boost. And you have Pokemon like T-Tar who do the same, like similar things with the amount of weaknesses. And now we're seeing a lot of strategies with Hard Trick Room where you have a Pokemon like Bronzong or Dusclops or any of the Pokemon like that where they're just hitting their own Rhyperior with Earthquake or Bulldoze and
even,
getting their own
Reuniclus can run Gyro Ball for that.
Yeah, even Reuniclus can just attack your Rhyperior, hit it to proc its weakness policy. And that's the big new strategy that's happening right now. I think the trend started like a couple of days ago, and now it's like a thing people are doing. And I'm curious to see how people adapt to that, or if it's going to stick around for like the rest of the year. I'd imagine people will adapt to it, but as of right now, it seems a very powerful strategy.
Like, how are you going to adapt to it? If you can run damage reduction and just like try to face tank it, you can. You can just hit it neutrally, but if there's self-proccing policy, it's kind of tough to deal with.
And Rhyperior is just such a good Pokemon.
Burned Rhyperior still does a ton of damage, honestly.
Yeah.
It's kind of nutty. I think it's going to be around in some fashion for the entire format. It'll obviously diminish. Like, we're not going to be playing Rhyperior Mirrors for 9 months. It's gonna have legs.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a lot more other like kind of not to say niche, but more surprising weakness policy strats or just weakness policy on Pokemon. Just boosting items plus Dynamax max moves is going to be the way for at least a while.
Yeah, people are already exploring it too.
Yeah, Ludicolo with Scarf on.
Yeah, like Ludicolo. Yeah, there's a lot of exploration you can do with that.
Honestly, just slamming a weakness policy on a mon that you would intend to Dynamax pretty frequently is a pretty solid play because either they're hitting it with a super effective move and you get your double damage, or they're not, and it's just gonna get to click through max moves 3 times because
I got swept
you're not
by
hitting it super
a
effectively.
Weakness policy Dragapult because you don't need to like kind of tailwinds or like Trick Room for this Pokemon. It's already the fastest Pokemon relevant in the format, and it's just sweeping your team if you like even touch it super effectively when it Dynamaxes. So
yeah, I've gotten messed up by a weakness policy Braviary.
Oh,
Like it just Dynamaxed and it ate the hit and started clicking +2 Airstream, and I was sad. Like that's the type of stuff you can just. The weakness policy is just a really good item. You can kind of put it wherever, and it's probably gonna get some mileage.
It feels like every generation we get a new, like not a new item, but like an old resurges, and just becomes like very like meta defining. Last generation we had the pinch berries, and now we're having weakness policy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just feels like that's the new item for this generation that just takes over. It's like, all right, I want a weakness policy Pokemon.
Yeah, weakness policy didn't even get changed. It's the same. It's just
it's just
the circumstances fit it really well.
Yeah.
And so it's the world we're living in.
All right. We're kind of winding down here. I don't want to go too much longer, but I guess the last kind of topic I know you guys are always cooking up something. I don't want you to like reveal strats or anything. I know you'll just say no. But kind of, I guess, lower usage Pokemon, offbeat Pokemon that you expect to kind of have an uptick, at least coming up. You feel it's kind of due. You got one?
I am big on the Wheezing hype train.
Wheezing.
Yeah, Wheezing is something I think. Yeah, people need to understand how that Pokemon works, and then when they do, it'll be really good.
Yeah, if I got eliminated by Wheezing. I'm very aware of how annoying it is.
By Wheezing.
I think Pokemon that might end up becoming a lot better, especially now that the rules are actually. I think Sandaconda is like really cool. I think its Gmax is really neat. I think it has a really cool move pool that people aren't really like. It gets glare. It's like ground types are good, and it gets glare. It's like can paralyze basically anything besides electric types. Like you have a ground type that can.
It's got like similar bulk to Hippowdon. I was looking at it. I think it's just like kind of a worse Hippowdon, but with better tools that make it better suited for doubles. At least our.
I think the big thing that separates it from Hippowdon is it gets glare and a speed stat.
Yeah.
So and it has cool abilities. So like it has 3 really interesting abilities. One, it has Sandveil, which if sand is as popular as it is, it's gonna fit right into like all that metagame where it's gonna start dodging moves. It has Shed Skin, so if it gets burned or put to sleep, you just heal it off. And Sand Spit, which is a new ability.
If we're talking about Hippowdon, that mon is not terrible. Like
Hippowdon is actually really good now.
It's similar to Sandaconda. If we're talking good things about Sandaconda, Hippowdon, you can do it.
So so the third ability on Sandaconda, which if you just hit it with any move, it sets up sand, which is pretty cool, I think.
Does that work if it faints?
It does go off if it faints, yeah.
Okay. So if you get max in the rain, you still set up sand and get a free switch into something.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Well, also, if you get hit by Max Geyser, the rain goes off, and then you put the sand back out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty neat.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah, it's a really cool ability. Rin already had a lot of hurdles to jump.
Mm-hmm.
And so back to the Hippowdon thing, I think Hippowdon got a lot better this generation by getting a non-earthquake ground move. It has high horsepower now, so it can use single target ground moves. I think that's really big. Hippowdon actually has a really respectable attack stat that really didn't get utilized because it was stuck just using earthquake. Like that's all it really had.
It's like 112, I think. Like
it's like one. Yeah, it's like it's 112. Mm-hmm. It's 112.
Yeah, that's a super real stat, and its physical bulk is legitimately excellent. It gets slack off, and a lot of Pokemon lost recovery moves this gen. So that's like a notable niche for it. It can boost its special defense with Ground Max.
Yep. And it gets good max moves. Like now that it has max moves too. Like I mean, you don't always want to max this Pokemon. Like I'm not going to tell you like you put this on your team start maxing it, but it has a lot of good options to max. You can set up sand backing with a rock move. It has ground move, so it gets boosted special defense. It gets a steel move, so it can boost its defense. Crunch to lower special defense, I think it is, right? I think that's what Dark does.
That's Dark Max.
Yeah. But it has like options. It has things it can do. It can set up Sun if you really want to do that. I don't know what would. It's there. But yeah, Hippowdon could do like interesting things.
If you start clicking ground with your Hippowdon, you can just get like +2 Spadef by the time Trick Room is like sending out their Torkoal, and then you just tank it and it hit out on honestly is a pretty good response to
Trick Room. Yeah.
I respect it.
Also, I forgot the big thing. I don't know why I forgot about this. It also gets body press, which is a really it's a fighting base 80 power move that just works off your defense stat, and the opponent just happens to have very good defense.
Yeah,
so
body press is probably the most impressive new move, at least most relevant for us.
Like it's not not it's just a really solid move, but it's insane in that it's not how Pokemon moves have worked before. To invest in your bulk while investing in your damage, just double dipping on the EVs is insane. Like the first couple days that we had the game, I was really hyped about Double, the Sheepmon.
Yeah, I lost to that in-game ladder with Cotton Guard.
So about that, and then like moved away from that after a couple days.
Okay.
But the calcs were really cute. Like after a Cotton Guard, it one-shot Scrafty with body press despite not being stabbed. And it's immune to debate. It does cute things. But like I said, it's a meme mon, but it's a cool meme.
Okay.
Yeah, I think body press helps a lot of Pokemon. Like I recently made a hard trick Coffergigas, and it having body press just lets it have it has already good stab coverage in Shadow Ball, but now you get to complement that with a fighting move that works up your defense stat. That's huge for it. Its defense is like base 145. That's really strong.
Have we ever had a Pokemon where its offensive move pool is focused around Ghost and fighting?
Legal and VGC?
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah. Not if we talk about any other format. Of course, we have the premier broken ass Shadow,
Marshadow
Pokemon. Yeah, but
I mean, we sort of did with Aegislash.
Okay, right, Sacred Sword.
Yeah, when you Sacred Sword Shadow Ball, we had that for a little bit, but outside of that, not really.
Speaking of Aegislash, that mon is booty cheeks.
Yeah.
Actually, all right, I don't think it's booty. Oh no! All right.
I'm sorry, Angel. Sorry that I have to do your.
No.
Yeah, this will be the last Pokemon we talk about. I was actually going to bring up Aegislash.
All right, so I'm the biggest Aegislash fan. I've loved it since it was released, or since it came out. But it did get considerably worse. I still think it's a very solid mon. Because one, that typing is broken. Two, stance change is still crazy. It still has a lot of stats. It still cheats its stats.
Yep.
And it's still really good. And I think it's the problem with Aegislash now is
does Cube Shields work with if you Dynamax it? Probably not, right?
No,
it's Max Guard. Max guarding. Yeah, so that's one of the big problems is you don't ever want Dynamax or Aegislash.
Gotcha.
Maybe this is a scenario where you do it, but you don't want to. You don't want to be in a scenario where you want.
Typing is something you would want to Dynamax. Like Steel Max is very, very good. It's not Flying Max, but it's up there. I think it's in the discussion for second best max typing. And Ghost is really solid as well. Dragapult gets a ton of mileage out of it. Aegislash would like to be getting defense boosts, but when you max it, it dies. Things.
No, especially with its changes in base stats.
Yeah, it's not a fun time for it. But I still think it
matter.
Yeah, the nerfs do matter. It's not the greatest Pokemon ever. It's really not that great.
It'll find its home on some team in the future.
It will find its place for sure. It did even though it did get nerfed, it had a lot of nerfs. It did get a lot of cool new toys. For example, it got Close Combat, which is pretty strong. Yeah. So.
Dynamax.
And if you're really crazy, you got Steel Beam. I don't know if you ever want to. There, it has Steel Beam.
Still
strong.
I know that's good in singles like Specs, Aegislash, but this is almost almost the opposite of what happened with Aegislash when it came out in Gen 6 in 2014. I remember we did not use it in VGC. We thought it was just like Swords Dance, physical, like singles Pokemon.
Yeah, no, we thought it was good. We didn't think we just used the wrong set. We used the physical set.
And there's a lot of Intimidate, and it's like we didn't know its place. But then we
realized that way.
We knew, yeah.
Yeah, we were like, oh wait, it gets special moves. That's good. That's better.
The big event for it that like really its peak of usage, and then it just rocketed. I think it was like Massachusetts regionals that year, 2014.
No, I think
soggy.
No, cat. I think. So I think it was like before that. Like maybe people knew about it before that. We knew before that. I think Massachusetts is when people realized how strong Substitute was, like sub leftover.
Right.
Because and also the speed tier. Like people realize, oh wait, I want the faster Aegislash with the mirror and etc. And that's where that snowballed.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, I'm with you there. I'm not with you, Nails. I'm sorry, but Aegislash, I have faith. He'll find a place.
He'll find a place. I think he'll find a place. I hope he finds a place.
He can't do defensive stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
I do find it funny that the format where weakness policy is at its best, Aegislash is probably not even right. I find that hilarious.
Yeah. That's actually the set that's the most successful Aegislash set as far as placements, right? Would be Colin.
No,
with weakness policy Aegislash.
No, it got second at Worlds the year after. I don't know I think it was leftovers the year after.
You're right.
I could be wrong on that.
Well, I mean that was the next best set, so fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, actually the Toxic nerf is huge for it because Toxic and then just cycling King Shield sub. Like one of the important things about it is that it allowed it to deal a bunch of damage without switching out of defense shield form. And now if it wants to deal damage, it has to stance change.
Yeah, that's also huge too. Yeah. Also, Substitute just not being as good. Substitute is not as good anymore.
Oh well. Oh, especially since when you Dynamax, Substitute disappears, right?
Yeah, not like you want to Dynamax Aegislash anyway, but like yes, that's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, well, we've been I forget how long I've been streaming and how long the cast has been going on, but we have like a buffer. We've just been kind of over an hour. Is there any last thoughts either of you guys have before we sign off?
I'm glad Ultra Series is over. I'm very glad Ultra Series is over. Please don't give us restricted formats again. It wasn't as bad as 2016, and I'll fight any 2016 was the worst format ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sun Series is fine. I'm okay with Sun Series. Ultra Series was a mistake. Anyway. I do want to give a big shout out to Kay for giving us Sun Series and not giving us a full year of Ultra.
Oh yes. Thank you, Great Ice, and thank you so much.
I'm the one who liked Ultra way better than the other two, but unlike people who defend 16, I defend Sun and Moon here and there, so I can respect that opinion. It was a fun little bout, but now we got new games. We got new players coming in.
In spite of that opinion.
Good. So
I'm also very happy. I'm very happy with all the new players. Like we have a lot of new players coming. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Like it's gonna be a fun year. I'm glad.
Good time.
New players, we love you. Please.
Yeah, we love you already. Nails, do you have any final thoughts? Angel kind of went on against Ultra Series, but I'll let that.
I hit on I hate the timer. I hope it gets overhauled. I don't have faith that it will because TPCI generally sticks with their guns. Once something is announced, they stick with it.
Unless it's like CP structure, because like
I think that you
can do that.
I'm cautiously optimistic that it's not going to be degenerate and toxic in this format because it is pretty aggressive. But once defensive play gets figured out, I think it gets into real problem territory. And I hope that I'm wrong. I don't think that I am, though.
For sure.
And
right.
like I hope that PCI is willing to like pull the plug on the 15-minute timer if it becomes problematic.
Yeah, no,
And
hopefully I respect their decisions enough to recognize where things can be, like, way too problematic. We don't want to kill the game before it's even, like, up on its legs, you know?
and I don't want to end on a negative note because I really do like the format. The timer, it's bad, but the Game Freak and uh, I don't know who to credit exactly. Game Freak did a really great job with competitive balance in this gen. Um, they gave us a lot of new toys to play with that are they make for interesting games. And shout outs to the game designers. I don't know who to
Yeah,
credit.
who specifically, but I second that notion. I've been having a really fun time with it. There's a lot of kind of strategies to work with. We don't have... I think archetypes are real fluid, too, it feels. If you know what I
I
mean by
think that
that.
archetypes are a bad way to look at regional dex formats.
Yes, no,
I
for sure.
think that
That's
you
why
just
I prefer regional dex formats.
yeah. In 2017, just archetypes like technically fake PG existed. It was just a good team.
Well, also, like,
For a while.
Lilycole, Mimilax.
Yeah, they were just combos of Pokemon like
Okay,
pairs,
fair enough.
and
Yeah.
as opposed to restricted formats or mega formats where you there are just best ways to run a team because you have to have either a mega Pokemon or a pair of restricted Pokemon, and either of those entities have just best ways to build around them, and it's really toxic. I'm so glad that we don't have those in the format right now.
So, will you guys be competing this weekend in Galar Weekly number 3 at r/VGC?
Quite possibly. Um, I've
I'm
played
doing
one.
my best to stream it again, so
Oh, yeah.
it'll be
Um,
fun.
the tournaments are they go on for a while, so open up your day. But if you have the day open, they are enjoyable.
I loved it.
For sure.
It's the best way to get best of 3 practice outside of having like a pretty large friend group, and even then, it's just it's different players than you'd be playing against. I do think that they're pretty great practice. Um,
Yeah, I enjoyed. I only played in the first one, but like it was amazing. I had a great time. It was pretty well run, and I was very pleased. Yeah,
Fingers
big shouts to
crossed.
Zach for hosting it.
Oh yeah.
Love you, Zach.
Obviously, links in the description for the episode. We'll have all these resources for you guys to know how to sign up for that coming this
Follow
weekend.
VGC stats.
Yes.
Follow VGC stats. Greatest Twitter ever.
That's
Besides
where
my
we
own.
got- yes, that's where we got all our kind of metagame knowledge from a bubble. No Rhyperior there yet, but it'll be there this weekend for sure, no doubt.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, everyone, you can follow us on our socials. I'm at CableVGC. The others have been on the screen. They'll be in the description. Did you guys have any shout outs? I know you shout out Game Freak K, but you guys have any I guess final regards, goodbyes.
I mean, the squad.
Shout outs to the Timer Hate Club.
That is the new group chat name for the for the Snowdown guys. We today we changed it to the Timer Hate Club.
Okay.
We're committed to the cause.
We're committed.
Well, thank you everyone live in the chat and those listening back at home afterwards for joining us. I've been Caleb Ryor. You guys want to sign off?
See ya guys.
All right. Bye, guys.